Are you tired of you and your team constantly dying and seeing the quest failed screen? Maybe you're just someone that prefers to have a more supported playstyle and standing at the back. Maybe words of affirmation is one of your love languages and you love people complimenting you or giving thanks to you.
Thanks, that helps.
Thanks, that helps. Well, regardless of if you are top, first, or bottom, this video will be the perfect guide for you if you enjoy supporting your team. Let's start off with why you might want to consider playing a supported build, because doing big PP damage all the time is not the only way to play the game. In Monster Hunter, you have a finite amount of lives. Generally, it's around 3 lives depending on what mission you take. And whenever you or another party member dies, your whole entire party loses 1 life. When your life reaches 0, your whole party wipes and your party fails the quest, meaning that you will get no rewards and you have to start again. Not everyone is giving Sweatlord Monster Hunter gameplay, so a lot of people out there, including yourself, will be dying a lot. This support build makes it so you can heal and buff your teammates, which you otherwise cannot normally. And at the end of the day, you can have all the big PP damage all you want, but if you die, that means you're gonna be doing 0 damage. And if your team wipes, that means you're gonna have to start again and you just wasted around 10 to 20 minutes of your life. So going a support build is a great option to avoid all of that by keeping your team healthy and alive. Now I'm gonna be straight up honest with you, with this build, you will not be doing damage, okay? You're gonna be doing some damage, but it's gonna be so minuscule compared to your teammates. And that's okay, because you are supporting them, you're giving them buffs, and you're keeping them alive. And again, if they die, then you're doing no damage. So you can kind of think of it as their damage is pretty much your damage. And if you think about it, if you heal your team, then you're saving your team lots of time from needing to heal themselves, which means that they have more time to be hitting their target. So again, you can kind of think of a portion of your team's damage as your damage because you are enabling or allowing that to happen. Now I'm sure all of that sounds really fun and lovely, so let's get into the build. When it comes to this supported build, there are only 3 skills that you absolutely need. They are wide range, speed eating, and free meal. Everything else doesn't really matter too much and just depends on what preferences you have. So the reason why you want these 3 important skills is because wide range lets you affect your teammates whenever you use your potions or consumables. That's how you are able to heal your team and buff them. Speed eating lets you eat foods and consume items much more faster, which will save you lots of time. And free meal gives you a chance to use an item or food for free, which will save you a lot of items in the long run. It will also save you from having to go back to camp to constantly restock in the middle of a fight.
I am running out of potions. We need to finish this. Like, oh my god.
Now how you go about getting these skills is up to you. You can get these skills from your armor or your decorations. Generally, the armor that gives you these skills are on the lower rarity, so they're not as like high quality as your meta armor, but on the flip side, that also means that it's more accessible for people that are more casual or still in the mid-range area. If you prefer to have more high tier armor and then fill in the gaps with decorations, then feel free to do that. I'm just gonna give you an example of the build that I have. The decorations are not perfect because it's still a work in progress, but the beauty of this build is that you really only need the 3 important skills and everything else is just extra fluff. So for the head, chest, and legs, I have the Damascus Alpha armor. For the hands, I have the Battle Alpha armor. And for the legs, I have the new Udra Alpha armor. All of this will give you the 3 important skills that you need. You just need a few more decorations to get wide range to level 5 and speed eating to level 3. Now let's get into the weapons, and for the build, I highly recommend sword and shield and hunting horn as your secondary weapon. Now you can go light bowgun because it does have some supportive capabilities, but I highly recommend sword and shield for its versatility and hunting horn for its buffing capabilities. So let's start off with why I highly recommend sword and shield. The reason why sword and shield is so amazing is because out of all the weapons, it has the easiest time sheathing and unsheathing your weapon. This is extremely important because the only way that you can use your potions and other items is if you sheath your weapon first, and the very big clunky weapons out there take forever to sheath and unsheath, and so by the time you finish doing that, your team might already be dead.
Oh, okay. please. I got you. I got you. I got you.
The other great thing about the sword and shield is that it has a shield, and therefore you can block a lot of attacks out there. You don't have to constantly think about dodging. All you have to do is hold up your shield and you save yourself so much damage. And as long as you're not getting stuck or stun locked, you can pretty much just heal up all that damage because you have all these potions at your disposal. Now for when it comes to a specific sword and shield, you can go whatever you want, but if you want more supportive capabilities, I would recommend going a paralyzed weapon. This lets you paralyze the monster and therefore lets your team just attack it for free. If you want to do a little bit of extra damage, you could also go for poison. I know a lot of people see poison as a pretty weak status effect, but because you're going a support build, you're not going to be doing the thousands of damage that other people are going to be doing, and so the poison damage that you do can help out a little bit more. On top of that, you'll be spending a lot of time drinking potions, so having some poison to fill in the downtime can help out a little bit. Now for your secondary weapon, I recommend Hunting Horn simply because you can buff your team, but not just any hunting horn. There are specific hunting horns that I recommend. Each hunting horn will have different buffs that you can provide for your team. You can check these buffs by cycling through the tabs when you're creating the weapon. The most important buff you pretty much want to get is defense up. The extra defense will let your team tank more damage and hopefully not get one shot, because sometimes that does happen.
Oh my god. And this is why defense is important.
No way, she just gobbled me.
Right. All of this extra defense will pair nicely with all the healing that you have from your potions. You just need your team to not get one shot, because if they get one shot, that means you can't heal them. That's why you want to avoid any of the hunting horns that give things like recovery up, because they don't really need regeneration. You are the regeneration with your potions, so all that extra healing and regeneration is just redundant. For a specific hunting horn, I highly recommend the Guardian Arkfeld hunting horn. This gives you defense up large and other buffs such as attack up large. If you want to go different hunting horns with different buffs for your team, go ahead, you do you, but I highly recommend going hunting horns with defense up. Now that we're done with our build, let's have a look at our item pouch and what you might want to consider bringing to the fight. So obviously you're going to want all your healing potions, which by the way, you can stack them in your inventory to save a lot of space. And then you're going to want items that can buff your team, such as your Might Seed or Adamant Seed. There are also other items that you can bring along, such as your cleansing items or even other items that buff even more. There are a lot of items that work with wide range, but there are some that actually don't work with wide range. I'm just going to link these Reddit posts in the description box below, showing which items can stack onto each other and which ones work with wide range. Now I know that these Reddit posts are for Monster Hunter World, which is for an older title. However, generally Monster Hunter is pretty consistent with its mechanics, so I can't imagine things being different for wide range, but I can't be completely certain on it. If you want to bring mushrooms to the fight, you can do that as well, but you're going to need to have the Mushroomancer skill, and remember that a few of the mushrooms do not work with wide range. An item that does not work with wide range is Max Potion, but I still highly recommend bringing it along with you because it can definitely save you when you need it. By the way, you can craft potions on the go during a fight. A good thing to craft would be mega potions. All you need is a potion and some honey. I highly recommend setting up your crafting to a button or a hotkey. This will make your life so much more easier and effectively increasing the amount of mega potions that you can have in your inventory before needing to go back to camp to restock. Now that we're done with setting up your character with armor and items, let's get into gameplay. Honestly, there's not really much that goes on with gameplay. I would recommend buffing your team with the hunting horn at the start of the fight and not midway. Buffing your team just takes so long that sometimes your team can die whilst you're in the middle of your animation. So in the case that your buffs run out during the fight, I would just recommend using items instead of your hunting horn. You can also refresh your hunting horn buffs whenever the monster moves to a different location, which pretty much resets the aggro. For the most part, you're going to stay on your sword and shield because that's the easiest weapon to sheath and unsheath. Whenever you see your teammates take damage, just chug down a potion and heal them up. It really is just that easy, and you should be safe for the most part because you have your shield to block. Like for me on Sword and Shield, I'm literally just mindlessly spamming buttons. You really don't have to be giving perfect Sweatlord gameplay, which is kind of the beauty of this build because it's so easy but effective. Now when it comes to wounds on monsters, I highly advise you to not use your focus attack on it. That's because whenever someone uses their focus attack on a wound, it gets rid of it, so you would much rather save that wound for another party member that does a lot more damage than you. So that's pretty much all there is to the support build or guide in this video. I know that there are a lot of people that prefer having a supported playstyle, especially in my community, but this support build is not even just for that. It can definitely be for yourself as well, because I absolutely hate dying, and this healing build lets me survive so much more better. If you did enjoy this video or even learned something from it, please do all that good stuff like subscribing, commenting, and liking. I don't really like doing all this YouTuber stuff, but you know, a girl's gotta do what a girl's gotta do. Also, by the way, I do stream on Twitch, so come in and say hi. I do want to make more Monster Hunter content because I love playing with different builds and theory crafting. I don't know if I will continue doing this style of recording and voiceover for my future videos, but we shall see. But anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something from it, and I hope you have a lovely time supporting your team with the support build. Bye!